Geek Dad Life presents a live discussion on Stranger Things Volume 1. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geek Dad Life, 2 geeky TV and film reviews. We're going to talk about Stranger Things for Volume 1. And I brought a very special friend and guest to today's episode. He has his own Twitch stream at Athletic Geek. I put a link in the description below. And we've been friends for a long time. Really pumped to hang out and talk with him about this episode, as well as with all of you that are watching this live. But let me bring him out and let's welcome to the Geek Dad Life channel for the first time, my good buddy, Dom. Dom, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. Hey, Colleen. Hello, Colleen.
Great. But Dom, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic, Jay. It is great to be here. I appreciate you welcoming me on.
Yeah.
A Stranger Things topic is going to be fun. Obviously, I like the show, if you couldn't tell.
Those are cooler than I still have these this 11 they have little action features.
That Dustin's awesome.
But I've seen those pops at Target. I'm like, should I get them?
Yeah,
I haven't done it.
I started with 11 in the Demogorgon, and then the other day I was at Target, and I was like, we're doing this thing. I got to go full out. Dustin was the last one left, and I was like, let's go ahead and get him. Got to bring them in.
Super pumped to talk with you about this series. And it was kind of interesting how this all played out because Obi-Wan Kenobi was the priority over Memorial Day weekend for us, and we didn't really. Colleen and I were not out of town, but we were doing a thing, so we didn't even watch it. But then once we started watching Stranger Things 4, I was like, oh my god, I need to talk about it. I need like a space to talk about it. And I'm so thankful that you accepted this invite because I would just be going crazy just thinking about it to myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, well let me say hello to the chat as well. We got a lot of people in the chat. We've got BTG who hasn't seen it yet but wanted to at least say hi. Thank you for that. Space Cowboy is here. Brick something. And only if I could. I make a deal with
yes.
We'll definitely talk about Run Up the Hill song in this episode. David V is here. Dartherian is in the house. A Nightmare in Stranger Things, indeed. Okay, guess I should finish the last episode. Come on, Toy Connections. Jeez, you got to. Jay Andrew is here. I think season 3 will always be my favorite. Well, you know what, Dom? Let's put a pin in that. Just remember, let's maybe rank the seasons as we close out this episode. Even maybe we should wait till the volume 2, but whatever. We'll do it. We'll do it twice. iBrand 3G is here. Overman is here. Can we all agree this season would be a lot better if Max's favorite song was Another One Rides the Beat? No, I'm not going to agree with that. I'm not agreeing with that. Nick Dillinger running up that geek hill. Leonard Mickle, Kyle Tilton. Welcome, Dom. A lot of welcomes, Dom. To
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Family. Rogo, a lot of welcomes. Colleen says no. Colleen, get me the drink. What the heck? Dartherian asks, how's your mouth tonight? No, Dom, you may not on Sundays. I got a root canal and my mouth was still hurting on Sunday. So I drank a lot and was really tipsy by the end of this. It's great. It's great TV. Riley Bob is here. Studio Henge, A. Troy, Kyle Tilton. At Ghostbusters, a lot of Ghostbusters stuff yesterday, which we will talk about on this channel. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. And also, everybody watching around, hit the like button if you haven't done that yet. All right. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Volume 1. So everybody, if you have not seen Volume 1 of Stranger Things 4, spoiler alerts. Okay, this is your last chance. We're going to talk about the show. So if you're hanging around and you still haven't seen it, it's your own fault. But if you haven't watched it, get out of here. We love you, but just come back after you've seen at least Volume 1. And we haven't seen Volume 2 because it's not out until July 1st, which is only 2 episodes. It's kind of
strange.
We'll talk about it. It's frustrating, but at least it's only like a month away, less than a month away. All right, so here we are, Volume 1. 7 episodes that were like 75 hours total. It was a long Dom, what's like your first just gut reaction? Because you finished it yesterday, right?
Yes.
So what was like your guttural reaction like after it was all said and done?
How did we not all see it? That was
the Vecna reveal.
Yes. How did we not see? It's one of those things where right when you are 20 minutes left in the final episode, you're like, and I knew it because back when episode 3 when this happened, and then 4 when this. How did I not see this?
Yep.
Like that was exactly how everything went with the reveal. I was just sitting there looking at my wife like, we should have known this at the start of the season. Like it was all right there in our faces, and no one picked up on it.
Yep, I agree. You know, it's so much so. The Robert Englund episode, which I think was episode 4, because it had the whole running up the hill sequence, all that kind of stuff. But he's doing his backstory, and he talks about his son being a quiet kid or whatever, or a sensitive kid. And I remember in that moment, I was like, something's there with that kid. Why don't I just put a pin in that? We'll come back to that later, but that's going to be something. But then I completely forgot about it by the end of the episode, because that was like the climactic, Max getting free, the running up that hill. Yeah. It was such an emotional ending to the episode that I forgot to think about it until the reveal of who Vecna was. And I was like,
Like I was telling my wife, I knew who 1 was. The moment they brought up 1, I was like, oh, it's him.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't quite get that.
Like because of how things kind of went with him sitting down next to Elle, I was like, okay, he's 1. 100% he's 1. That was my theory. I did not connect him to then also being like, I was like, whoa, okay, that second part was just
Yep. It was a really good reveal. And I got to give credit to Colleen, because she didn't know it was 1, but she's like, he's a bad guy. He's a bad guy. Don't trust him. He's a bad guy. I was like, maybe he's illegal cover. I was like, nope, he's a bad guy. I was like, all right, okay, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it was a really good reveal. And I understand, I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know if it was the Duffer Brothers' decision to kind of split up this season. Right. I think Netflix is looking at it like, okay, we only got 2 seasons left. Lost a lot of subscribers. We need to spread this out a little bit. But I think it was a good place to put a pin in it or pause it a little bit, because it was a really good, like, holy crap reveal. It was, and it sets up everything in a really fascinating way with the Upside Down and its origination, and it tied everything together in a really fascinating way. Let's see what people are thinking in the chat. iBrand3G, I connected that he was 1, but never that he was also Vecna. So he with you there. A Space Cowboy, there was no reason to suspect that 3 different characters were one and the same. That's true, Space Cowboy. Kyle, though, right there, it was in front of us the whole time. Not gonna lie, 1 gave off creeper vibes from the start, but they're all creepy, right? I don't know. It was a room. Papa, and everybody there's a bunch of creepers.
Yes, Papa.
Like, right. Leonard, I figured out early, he was too focused on 11. He looked immediately villainous. Okay, that's fair. Can we all agree that Jamie Bowen is crushing that role? I would agree, right?
Crushing it.
And just the sequence because the episode's title, the massacre at Hawkins, and just how he kind of gets dark, like he just looks more menacing throughout. It was intense. The one thing was pretty obvious, but the connection to Vecna and the boy was a bit tougher to tie it. Kyle said, "Give the question should be left alone with kids," but again, that's like all the people at Hawkins Lab just makes me uncomfortable. Bricks, I'm totally a guess, but I assumed 1 was Vecna. Oh, okay, all right. We'll trust you. We'll trust you, Brick. Something. Got a Pennywise vibe for 1. Absolutely, when I had the creeper factor for sure. But yeah, what there was the big bads of each season of Stranger Things. I guess the Mind Flayer is still kind of the biggest of the big bads, right? I guess.
The 5-star lieutenant is Vecna.
Exactly, right? And And so, like, when we first saw this character in the trailer, I was like, oh, okay. And then, as the first episode was like, oh, okay, he's the Freddy Krueger of this. And okay, we'll see how that plays out. But at no point did I think it was going to be as compelling and amazing and menacing as a big bad for this season. Out of all the big bads and just Vecna's storyline in general in here and influence in the story, Dom, like what's your thoughts on Vecna and how he kind of ranks out of the Stranger Things big bads, and what do you thought of the story?
Well, first I want to say I think it's kind of cool that they just stuck him with the name Vecna. Like he was like that was the name from D&D that they just kind of came up with for that one character, and they were like, we're just going to call him Vecna, and that's just what stuck for the whole season. I was like, okay, great, his name is Vecna, I guess.
Well, there's the history there. There's Demogorgon. I think all of them, right? Demogorgon and Mind Flayer, right? Aren't they all? I think that's yeah.
The kids came up with the name. So I mean,
I dig that.
With what we found out at the end, has to be ranked as probably at this point one of the top, if not the top, just kind of villain in Stranger Things, because we've gotten our kind of experience with Mind Flayer, and we got what happened in season 3. I mean, that was a lot.
Yeah,
but to have, as you said, the Freddy Krueger, this being that is in another dimension but can somehow attack and affect people in the real world, it's just like otherworldly, literally. It was amazing to try to figure out, one, how he was doing what he was doing, and like kind of why he's targeting who he's targeting, and then all of a sudden like, oh, who it is. Thinking, oh, like, we can think, oh, it's just another something from the Upside Down, like a Demogorgon, but now all of a sudden we're like, oh, it's an actual person. That's like everything about it was awesome.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And there's something always more chilling about having the bad guy be human in some way, right? Or it's Taylor's oldest time, like Lucifer, a fallen angel or whatever. This is like, fallen human into this that's been warped by the Upside Down, but still just as evil as a human in this world. Like, just it hits in a different way than this monster, or you know what I mean? It's creepier because he's a human, right?
Right.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. What if we find out at the end of the series they're still kids and this was all one That would, I think there'd be a lot of TikTok people.
You thought people were mad at the end of Game of Thrones?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. Darthurian, but did Vecna claim to be behind Barb near the end, or is that? I think that was just him messing with Nancy, right?
Yes, yeah, him messing with Nancy, saying, I would feel bad about this if, like, I feel bad about what I do. You should feel bad about what you did here.
Yep, exactly, right. And I think it's the every person that he kind of attacked, or people that had PTSD or something that and as he kind of had his villain monologue, and he's just kind of going through, everybody's horrible, so I just show them how they're horrible and they deserve to die, blah blah blah. And so it kind of works, and I feel bad. It's that the Barb of it all of season 1's like we all felt really bad for her, like she didn't have to go, and so yeah, I think that was a really good mechanism by which he followed it. Rogo also calls out a really strong Pinhead homage as well. Duffer Brothers said they wanted to give that feel. And yeah, just like in general, this whole season has upped the ante in terms of like the horror and the gore and stuff like that. For me personally, I don't like scary movies. I don't like gory stuff. So this season was a lot for me. Dom, how about you? It was a lot.
Oh, I love gore, but I'm not a big horror person myself. If it is gory, I'm fine. So yeah, like it's again very different than what we've had so far. So it starts off season 1's really. If you think about it, and you go back and you're like, oh, season 1 was so soft, like nothing happened. And now you're like, what is this show? So,
and the first death, like it was just like, oh God.
And, there was nothing gentle about it.
No, and the thing is like, I know the Duffer Brothers have kind of lamented that they killed off Chrissy because she she popped on screen, right? Like her and Eddie, two new characters in the show that had great chemistry together, have endeared themselves to Stranger Things fan. I think they've been fantastic additions, but she like is killed off right away and brutally killed off. It was every time I looked away, I don't think I watched it with fully open eyes anytime he killed anybody. Yeah, let's see some of these thoughts on that. I can stomach this season better than people melting into the goop monster. That was pretty gross. That's fair. Monsters and Gordas bother me, but I hate jump scares with a passion.
Yes.
Kyle, the snap, crackle, and pop.
Oh, amazing.
Brick something. Love Eddie. There were many Eddies in my hometown. Again, yeah, just like, and maybe the Billy was kind of the quintessential, I guess, angry bully or whatever. But then like Eddie had that persona. And again, being a geek myself in high school, I hung out with the freaks and geeks. Mm-hmm. And see, I think you're right. Yeah, there's the Eddies that kind of have that persona, but are like really sweet people in real life are really cool. And I think he played that role really well. But Dom, thoughts on these new characters, Chrissy and Eddie in this season?
Well, like you said, because Chrissy was killed off so early on, we didn't get to truly experience her character. Mm-hmm. But I mean, total, a great job in the fact of like, number one cheerleader, as I said, like high school queen. You can see that from her, and then immediately, all of a sudden, you see she's going to therapy and mm-hmm. throwing up in the bathroom and has all this stuff going on in the background, and you're like, oh, and she kind of played both roles so great. But then, like you said, Eddie, we got him all season, and I mean, his reactions with the kids of just like, I brought you in when you had no one. Get out there and do your thing. And then all of a sudden, also like, I'm the guy I don't want to do any of this. I'm not a hero. Like him saying, I'm not a hero. Yeah. I only jumped in because the girls left me. I was like, yeah. All right. I feel that.
And it just did it so earnestly, and just like, it was really compelling. Rogo agrees. Eddie is a fantastic character. Ed might be my new favorite. Yeah, same. There's this thing with Stranger Things, and there hasn't been a lot of deaths on the show, and I know we're coming towards the end of the series, so I assume more deaths will come. Mm-hmm. But there's like we lost Chrissy so fast. I'm like, you better not be killing Eddie, because like I freaking love Eddie. We need Eddie around. But yeah, I really dug Eddie. And then the other new character in this season, I'm pulling it up now. The basketball, I don't know, the Chad.
Oh, God.
But he was a total Chad. But I hated him.
Apparently, he has the charisma of, I can't even think. He has the highest charisma in the town, because that man's speeches just move everyone.
Seriously. Like it goes one, like getting the team to win championship, and then also creating an angry mob to kill people.
Yes. Let's get out there and hunt those kids. Hunt kids? You're getting a town to hunt kids?
Yes. But does it so effectively and plays it so well. So, doing a great job acting, because I hate that character. But yeah, wow. Just oof. Anyway. If Eddie dies, we riot. Let's see. The D&D witch hunt was just as scary as the threat from the Upside Down. Yeah. And I think that's, again, talking about how Vecna's a really compelling baddie, because it's a human that kind of warped but even before the Upside Down, and was like the basis by how Eleven got her powers, was trying to replicate Vecna. But the fact that, you have the Upside Down, which is scary, but just the townspeople, going hunting these kids essentially, just because they perceive it as being the devil and crap like that. And in today's world, you could totally, I mean, just even in the current times we live in, you could see crap like that happening. It was you're right. I do think it could be scarier than all of the gore and stuff like that. It was intense. Eddie is amazing, but I feel like he's missed some screen time that he rightfully deserves. The scene where they attacked the band, that was rough. Agreed.
Yes.
Ugh. Well, Dom, you say you're an athletic geek here. Did you live in both worlds, with athletic and a geek? I did not get to live in the athlete world too much.
I did not.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was one of those know everyone, but as a part of no group type people in middle school and high school. So I knew all the parts.
Okay.
But I wasn't in any of them.
Okay.
I didn't truly get athletic abilities until late high school, and at that point, it was all the groups formed. So.
Okay, all right. No, I respect that. I had no athletic abilities, so I hung out like on the fringes of the quad. I got to hang out in like the good parts of the hangout places. Weaving in the satanic panic in D&D was a stroke of genius. Yeah, absolutely, because that was the thing that was there, right? And even it was like the whole Tipper Gore putting the parental advisory labels on CDs and stuff like that. Like the level by which the freak out over this stuff, which clearly wasn't that, is crazy. And I love that they brought it up in this show, because a lot of times people bring up Stranger Things as problematic for nostalgia, right? Like where nostalgia is a dangerous thing because it wasn't always better in the past. Like, sure, certain things you miss,
right,
but there is progress that has happened. And this shows you that, where it's like, yes, the 80s was fun, there's a lot of things, but there's also like some things that we have evolved beyond in some form or fashion. And that whole like satanic devil worship thing was a legit thing back then. It was scary. We will not go quietly into the night. Independence Day level speech by Chad. But again, not like a good one though. Yeah, band geeks represent. I was in a jazz band in high school. Again, I had all the girls.
All of them.
Oh my god. But yeah, I think all of the new additions for this season, I really dug their storylines and their through lines. But I think I want to pivot here. We're about 20 minutes in. I want to pivot to, I think, the most compelling storyline of this first half. And it's more than the first half, but Max's storyline here, right? And the running up that hill of it all. Because, she was a new character that was brought into season 2. Season 2 was not a fan favorite season. And but I don't think anybody disliked Max, but she was kind of like a there character. I never felt like she had a ton of presence. But the death of her brother at the end of season 3, she's clearly still dealing with, the trauma of that in this season.
Right.
And while the Vecna murders are so graphic and disturbing to start out the first couple episodes, it's the second you realize that fate could befall Max that it shows you why they show you that, right? Because you're just like, oh my God.
Yep.
That can't happen to Max. And then you have her episode, was it Letters to Billy, episode 4. And it was just such a beautiful story arc for her. And what I loved about it is, the whole entire through line, she's writing letters to people because she doesn't want to say it to their face. She's removed herself from her friends. And when, she's being trapped in Vecna's world, she gets into his lair where it's all red, but they find out what her favorite song is, like this whole throughout storyline. And then when she comes to the realization that, no, the friends and the relationships that I've made is the thing that's important. That's, I ran away from them when I should be running towards them and following that love. And it was just such a beautiful sequence. I was shouting like, run, Max, run, go! And then just like tears. And it was just such an exhausting, emotional, incredible episode that Max, such a, again, the main story of this season. Dom, what was your thoughts on Max in this season?
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Right.
It was, Netflix kind of gave a little bit away with their previews, because you do see the one scene where she was floating away in the previews and stuff.
Yeah.
And so once we started to realize that what was happening with Vecna's, cases, you know that, okay, Max is next, and you see her floating. So I was like, oh, she's not going to get out of this. Like it's and when they did play her music and she was running to the exit,
yeah,
everything was falling closer to her, and I was like, oh, they're gonna get it to right when she's right at the exit. Crushed. I so didn't think she was gonna make it.
Yeah.
But I definitely love that. You know, we kind of saw her going through the depression, and we knew, you know, I wish that Max was able to open up more and be there, but she did have to watch her brother die. So I mean, you kind of understood it. Really happy Lucas tried to step in and be like, hey, I'm here for you. And it really was one of those, like, will she recognize now or no? And and like taking, like you said, taking the almost getting captured and killed by Vecna to kind of understand, like Lucas was right. All my friends are here. They're right there in front of me. Like, I don't need to run away. They're here. Let me be with them and engage with them and everything else. And it gave enough of her character to allow people to like you said, recognize Max and no longer be that their character.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that call out there for Lucas too, because I feel like Lucas is in the most unenviable position in this season. But he's there trying to help his friend, to help all of his friends not get killed on so many levels. Like, he has the Chads that he's trying to, like, you know, and it sucks because he had the game-winning shot. Like, he finally gets whatever, and then it all goes to hell. Yep. And then he has, you know, his former girlfriend that also made that he still clearly cares for. And he's trying to kind of keep it all together and to keep everybody alive. And Lucas, you know, just had an incredible storyline throughout. And yeah, I think I agree. Like, the way the things were falling, I did not believe she was safe until, like, because even that last thing that fell, it just went to black.
Yes.
And I was like, and then they show her fall, and her eyes go right. I'm like, and just as much as she was like, I was like, and it was really good editing. And the way the song played. And then at that moment, that's what's like, okay, this is why the song went to #1 on the charts this weekend, because it was just such a perfect use of a song interspersed with the scenes that were happening and how it all played out. Is it the best episode and or sequence of the series so far, or are there better?
It's going to be hard for me to say that anything is better than the last episode.
The Vecna reveal episode.
Correct.
You rank that better than episode 4, the Max episode?
I have to.
Okay.
I enjoyed finding Vecna's demon realm world and everything that was going on there, and the communication and Max's stuff. But the full actual 11 backstory, Vecna, I just so much more enjoyed that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I'm not saying it like I think that is the Bible, and I don't even know if I think it's the best. But it was maybe there's a few that were very emotional like that, but that one for me definitely pulled all the right strings. And only episode 4, I think it's something that this season's done really well, where the other ones kind of can't, work towards this big climax, and then that's the season, right?
Right.
But this one kind of had, these crescendos at multiple points, and we're still not done. So you had this Max storyline where she may die, and then boom, you have that big climax. And then you have this, you have all these different lines going on right now, but then you have absolutely. And then you have 11 trying to get her powers back. And then it ties into the Vecna backstory, and it's like, oh my God. And that's happening like concurrently with the Hawkins crew trying to figure things out as well. And then you still have the Hopper and Joyce, and which is an amazing storyline, but I think it may be like the last place storyline, and it's insane and it's incredible too. But just the way they've put all these storylines together has been really compelling, and it's really hard to do because a lot of times in movies where you split off the teams, you're thinking, oh, like, let's just get the team. We gotta get the team back together. Yes. It's just not feeling the same. But they really nailed all these different stories at the same time, because in a world where you can be like, no, the Vecna thing was the best, I'm gonna be like, oh, I love the Max thing the best. And they're both, you have an argument to make on either one. I think proves how well they handle all the different storylines. I mean, how do you feel about that, Dom, in terms of all these concurrent storylines going on at the same time?
There were a lot. And even more towards the end because they split up, the groups, like even the small groups got split with Watergate. Like that, like you continuously already separated groups.
Yeah.
I thought it was great though, just to see everything. My wife laughed a lot. Carol laughed a lot about it because like you said, she did not care as much about the Hopper Joyce storyline. She was like, stop going back to Russia. I don't care.
I mean, I liked it. I wasn't that level, but I could see it. It was like, all right, enough.
Yeah, he's a prisoner. Something's happening. Whatever. Get back to the kids.
No, I respect that. I respect that a lot. I do want to check back to the chat here on this. Just real quick. What's your song, Jay, Dom? What would be your Running Up That Hill?
Oh man, I was actually wondering this during the season. I was like, do I have a song?
Well, my friends know. This is your chance. You're telling me and the whole world. So there'll be a lot of people that'll know what your song is, just in case.
Man, I honestly don't know. Probably a really funny one, just because I hear it every now and again now. I don't know if anyone knows Lil Dicky, but he has a song called Pillow Talking, and it's very funny. It's a 10-minute long song, so it's a bit ridiculous, but it does make me laugh. So that because it's a funny, get you in a funny mood, good mood type of song. But
all right, okay.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the rest.
It's your song, okay? Like it's fine. So you said Lil Dicky, Pillow Talking.
Pillow Talking. It's a good song.
Okay, all right. I don't know that one, but I'm going to go listen to it right after this. I'm going to have it just in case. I'm actually having it on cassette tape with a Walkman just at the ready.
I appreciate that.
For me, I love all music. There's very little that I don't like. Modern country would probably be the things I don't really like, but everything else I love. But if I had to pick one, this is probably one my wife would say. Do you think you know it? I don't think you know it.
No, a different song came into my mind just now, but continue.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to take it back? Do you want to take back Lil Dicky, Pillow Talking?
I will. I'll go ahead and let you keep going.
Okay. All right. But for me, it would be Depeche Mode. Enjoy the Silence. I love that song. It's just one of those songs I can always go to. It's really simple, straightforward, but I love it. I love, out of all genres, I think the guilty pleasure, the one that melts my heart the most is new wave usually. But and I love it all. I love hard rock, I love metal, I love jazz, I love everything. But that one would be the one that snaps me back to reality. Okay,
I like it.
I saw it hit your head.
Yeah,
real time.
The moment you said that you're not a big country, I was like, I do have a like/love for country.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said country, Kane Brown came to mind, and then his song. So it's Khaled's song with Kane Brown, Saturday Night. It's like a little remix version. I love that song. I love that song so much.
So is that
that one? Yes.
Is that it? Okay.
Saturday Night by Khaled featuring Kane Brown. That's the one.
I still don't know that one, so I'll listen to it after this. I love this. Let's come back to this in a second. Break. Was the school counselor somehow complicit in the kids' deaths?
Ooh.
I did get, kind of like, is she like in partnership with Vecna, or is she that inept that she's essentially causing that? I didn't get the trust her vibes for sure, because it was just like, there's a connection there. Riley Bob, I think the thing about Max is she seemed like their character, but over time integral to the group that you don't want to see go. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. But that's where it's because like I don't want to see Max go, right? But on paper, like, I guess if one could go, I guess Max could go. But
right.
The story was so compelling. I was like, no, I don't. She can't go. No. When I saw Max going in the trailer after 11 said that she lost her powers and further powers, had transferred to Max somehow. Okay.
First trailer, exact same thought. First time seeing the trailer,
really?
Exact same thought. But then when you see episode 2, after the first death and seeing how Vecna does his thing, then I switched my thought. But I 100% had that thought at first.
Interesting. I didn't get that at all. But I try not to watch the trailers too much because I don't want to like spoil myself. But
smart.
Lucas struggle is beautiful to watch. Sad to see the tension from him and his friends. Yeah, it's something you can, I mean, not necessarily relate to because I was never talented enough to become a jock, but like I could see the torment there, right? Of the, we can be popular, we don't have to get picked on, and
Mhm.
um growing up in the era before bullying was, talked down against, you kind of had to just make your way and survive. And I may still be that way in high school. I don't know, it's been like forever since I've been in high school, but yeah, I do, like, I felt for Lucas so much throughout this because there's nothing wrong with him wanting to have the winning basketball shot, and
Mhm.
like, so it's just, you felt for him so much. A lot of people feel the same way about the rundown for Max. So kind of telling that Hopper and Joyce's plot hasn't come up yet. No, I agree. I think out of all the line, and it's not, I don't think it's a bad storyline. I just think out of all of them, it's the one that is the least, and that's not a bad thing. It's still good. It's just like the
Right.
least good, right? Riley Bob, is it me or is it frustrating odd that everyone outside of like season 1 adapts to being in the Upside Down so well? This is a really good call out here. Like, no screams of terror, jumping in every single sound. I'd be pissing my pants. And I recall in season 1, they're like, if you're in the Upside Down too long, it's like radioactive or something. It can kill you or whatever. And that was I kind of was like, isn't it like it could be deadly if you stay there too long? Again, like I seemingly got out, most of them. But Nancy didn't, right? She got kind of sucked back in.
Mhm.
But maybe they got out in time for before it became effective. But I kind of had that feeling too. Did that hit your mind at all, Dom, throughout this episode while they're going in the Upside Down through Watergate?
No, that I honestly forgot about that whole plot. Just the lights. I was just thinking to myself, "Find light" when they got over there. That's
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah. And the whole time I was just like, "Oh, somebody's gonna get killed before they go through the little portal thing through
Mhm.
the trailer." Take on Me by Aha. I don't Grimace Face. Listen, like, this is your song. Like, you got to pick it. Words of violence break the silence. Dartharian Tank from Cowboy Bebop's
Yes.
opening for Dartharian.
Solid choice.
Let's see. Shake the Disease is my favorite song. I think The Church Under the Milky Way is my song. Let's see. 80s, I pick Power of Love from Back to the Future. Great song from a great movie. That's a good call out there. It's an interesting choice of like a very movie song because there's like so much connected to it, right? Beyond just a regular song. Justin just jumped in. So cool, a Stranger Things thing. Welcome. Does anybody else think Eddie Munson looks like Eddie Van Halen? Absolutely. He just looks like that, metalhead guy that you had in high school, like we had the freaks and the geeks, and he would be like with the freaks,
Who's repeating his senior year for the third time?
Exactly. Again, like those were the people I hung out with. They were in the groups that I was in the geek camp, so I don't want to say like I was as cool as it. I wasn't. I didn't have long hair and the jean jackets. I was in the geek camp or the nerd camp. But like the freaks and geeks, or at least in mine, we were all like we were on the same level. Like we could hang out in groups. So I definitely had friends like that. Pointer Sisters Jump. Never Gonna Give You Up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff Burton, Kirk Hammett. Yeah, again, like the 80s metalhead for sure. And I believe the jean jacket, like the Ronnie James Dio jacket, was like an actual jacket from his collection. Like the estate of Dio like loaned him that jean jacket or whatever, which I thought was really cool. I thought that was really neat. Dartharian, I was the guy in the mascot costume. Oh my god. All right, let's see. So we've covered Max. We've kind of, I don't want to say we've been dumping on the whole Joyce Hopper thing, because I thought it was actually a really interesting story. If there was big emotional climaxes in season 3, it was the Hopper sacrificing himself to close off the portal because 11. Like, it was so emotional, right? And you think Hopper is dead, but then there's like the very quickly like he probably survived. So I did think it was a really compelling story. But Dom, what's your takes? Is it kind of like cool, but I don't really care. Like, what was your thoughts on this storyline?
It's an interesting storyline because obviously we knew somehow they were going to get to Hopper. So it was just kind of figuring out how it was going to happen. So everything they were doing, you were like, okay, is this going to work? Is this going to work? How's Hopper going to get out? Like they told him, run and you die. So everything that was coming up, you're like, okay, what's next? What's next?
Yeah.
And for Murray to do what he did and everything to kind of work out in the end, it was cool. Smart that Hopper remembered how they beat the Demogorgon originally, because that was kind of my thought when I knew the Demogorgon was there. I was like, okay, Hopper's already had to handle this before. I have no worries about him here with the Demogorgon. I have none. But still, like, how are you going to go to an unknown Russian prison and break out this one American?
Yeah, right. The stakes were so high that it just seemed like, how the heck are they going to pull this off? But I think they did it in a way that makes sense. Like, again, it is very fantastical, and maybe that's why it's the storyline maybe that we were as like the least amount engaged, because it was kind of like out of the norm. Okay, we're stretching realm here. I get that Alaska is close to Russia, right? I guess you could see it from your backyard or whatever, but like it was a little bit silly, but it was fun. Like, it was a fun story. But the stakes, like Joyce and Murray, just like kind of like, we're gonna kung fu our way through this, and just kind of like,
my fingers are arrows.
Yeah, just like, but that character is so ridiculous. It all kind of works out, but their storyline was so kind of like goofy. But then you have Hopper like going through real hell trying to like escape. But somehow it worked, you know. Like I think it was cool. And then we had I don't remember the character's name in the show. I'm trying to find on IMDb. I don't have it at the very moment. But he's from Game of Thrones. He's like, you know,
Enzo,
right? Yeah, and he's fantastic.
Yes.
Love, again, another great addition to the show.
Yes.
So and when they overcome the Demogorgon and he finally sees Joyce, it was such a beautiful moment.
Yes.
That's kind of where we left it. We don't know if they get out alive yet. Right? Like, do you think, this is my question to you, Tom, do you think they all get out of there alive, or is there tragedy to come for their story? Because it just seems so impossible that they go all the way to Russia, save Hopper, come all the way back without any blood on their hands.
3 Americans versus the KGB. We got this.
Yeah, right?
I think that they'll all make it back, but I think it's all going to be because of Yuri. I don't know how he's going to come into play because he's still there.
Yes.
I think something involving him was what's going to get them all back.
Okay. All of them back.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Murray, Hopper, and Joyce make it back.
Okay. All right.
And I don't think it involves a portal because, you know, there's one there. I don't think it involves a portal.
Yeah, no, it's true. I feel like they take a plane back, I guess, right, or something. I don't. So you're saying that happens by the end of these next 2 episodes that we have. They're back in America with the family. We're all happy.
It's gonna kind of be like season 3, where they showed up right when things were right when crap was hitting the fan with the kids.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna end of episode 1, somewhere in there, Hopper and the gang show up. Somehow, some way, they show back up to help out.
Yeah. Rogo choice music called Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice reference there. That dude has an Inspector Gadget level of failing into success. Let's see. Yuri or the prison guard? Oh, so you're saying Yuri? You're saying the smuggler?
Yeah, not Enzo. Enzo's the prison guard. I think Yuri, the smuggler, is gonna help. Well, and it might be both. It might be Yuri and Enzo, because Yuri is Enzo's there as well. So something about those two, because obviously Enzo knows the ins and outs of the prison and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Yuri is just a wild child with a crazy mind. So I think the combination of those two could make something happen. They both love money. Hopper's got money, kind of, and they'll help out. Like they'll do something to convince Yuri, like, you can live and you get the money, just get us back to America.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. No. I hope they all live. I just think the stakes are so. I don't know how there has. I don't know. Maybe I don't want it to be, but I feel like somebody has to die. And I'm worried, who could die in this season. and we can have all of our different guesses. Mine for a while was Steve Harrington, just because I don't want to say he's like one of my favorite characters in the show. But he kind of had that. He's been the third wheel.
Mm-hmm.
He's been the babysitter. He's been kind of in the action, but always kind of not in the main action. That, like, from a stereotypical story standpoint, the second he finally is not the babysitter, he's the one that's leads in the Upside Down. He's gotten the wounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 9 times out of 10 in the story when it's the person and it cuts later and he's like holding his side and there's like a gut wound, they're gonna die, right? I mean, every movie ever, right? It's just like, no, I'm fine. And then they do the whole, oh. And then, like, by the end of the movie, they're like, I bled out. But so I was feeling Steve until towards the end. I was like, oh, maybe it's Nancy. Maybe Nancy's gonna be the one that goes. And then she gets kind of pulled back into the Vecna thing. It didn't end with her death, so I think there's still hope there because
right.
gave the monologue to her too. But I don't know. Out of all these characters, do you feel like there's a big death coming for season 4? And if so, who do you think gets the old?
It's kind of tough for me to think they'll take someone from the main crew. Like Steve has such a big part in multiple people's lives, and obviously they're doing something with him and Nancy there that's annoying me.
I kind of like it.
I'm happy to talk about it. It's annoying me.
Okay.
But it's a lot of self-sacrifice in this group right now.
Mm-hmm.
That I think at the end of the day, if Steve, like I said, he is the one that's injured. He is the one that's been bitten, and things could be happening.
Yeah.
So I do think if they had to get someone, maybe it would be Steve, because obviously, like I said, Nancy's in Vecna's control right now, and maybe it would be like I said, he's already injured.
Yep.
He doesn't really know what he's doing in life right now. And it kind of could be, I'll sacrifice myself for my friends, for the woman that is my true love, all of that. So I could see them having Steve go, because it'll hurt Dustin, it'll hurt Nancy, it'll hurt Robin.
Yeah.
But then they'll all kind of move on a little, like somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like if Steve goes, it's devastating for Dustin. It's devastating for Robin because they're like best friends. And I think for Robin, one of the few people that she has come out to in there, and again, this is the 80s, this isn't today. And for Nancy, she's finally like kind of re-seeing, like, oh, this is the person that I fell in love with, so it'll hurt there. Like, there's just, and I hate it because I love Steve Harrington so much. And it's just like, I think because of that, he's in what is it here? I think somebody said, like, he's gonna have where is it here? Ray Death Ray. Steve is going to die by upside down rabies, like Robin said. Like, right? There's just, it hurts. So I'm gonna hope it's not going to be the case, but Steve. They're giving Steve the vibes of the one that is going to die.
But that's why but because of that, that's why it's not going to be him.
Okay.
It's because of that thing. But then I also think, how this is kind of tailoring off the D&D game they played.
Yeah.
Everyone but 2 people died in the D&D game.
You're right.
So we could be looking at more than one death.
Oh, snap. So you think it's beyond just one? You think it could be a bloodbath?
It could be that to get Vecna, obviously 11 and Vecna are going to have to go at it, and she beat him once in the past, but he's been getting more powerful. So I do think that if they are going to follow this D&D game like they did, obviously he's going to lose in the end with a big, powerful 11 rolling a 20 type of attack.
Mm-hmm.
But to get there, a lot of people are going down, whether it's just a lot of injury or more death, but a lot's going to happen. Because it seems like they're following the D&D game.
Yeah, that's
that's what's going to happen.
I didn't even think about that because it was just Dustin and what's Lucas's sister's name again? I'm blank. She's amazing.
They did. I think Erica Sinclair.
Yes, thank you. Erica Sinclair. She's been amazing since she was introduced in season 2, right? I believe. She's so good. She's so good, and I love that they've brought her into like the main group of kids. But God, I didn't even think about it's one of those things like the same thing as I was like I knew the D&D game is relevant, But you're right, it was just those two, and it was just Erica that kind of put the last kill shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah, because Dustin rolled like an 8 and he lost, and then it was
Yeah.
down to the last roll and critical 20. They win.
Yeah. Oh, dang. I hope it's not a bloodbath because I love all these characters so much. I don't want any of them to die. I don't want to let them all. I don't want to die. Let's see. I want to check on Stephen. Justin says he doesn't think anybody will die. They'll be playing it safe if they didn't kill off a main character. I think there's only 2 seasons left, right? It's these 2 episodes of 4 and then 5, and that's it.
Yep.
We thought Hopper was going to die at the end. That's true. I thought Hopper was a goner. Just he had the character that's going to die vibe in season 3, for sure.
And he was vaporized, like we saw it.
Yeah. If they follow, Brick says if they follow the 80s horror formula, whoever has sex will die, or they subvert and play that like Steve and Nancy hook up and they make it seem like they'll die. But nope, I prefer option B. Let's see. Well, hopefully the Chad bites. Yeah, I mean, again, ideally, it's the Chad that bites it. Is that what's the character's name? We're calling him Chad. He's Chad, but
I have been trying to remember myself and I could not.
But it's somebody in the chat that let us know. Let's see. The rabies comment does seem like foreshadowing because Will was messed up for a whole nother season from being in the Upside Down, and he's getting bit by freaking upside down bats.
Choked out in bit.
Overman, Will is sacrificing himself. This is out of left field. I would bet a bootleg Boba Fett on it.
Take that bet.
Will's gonna die of a broken heart if Mike keeps ignoring him. Like, yeah, God, that whole storyline is tragic. It is tragic. Let's see. How many episodes? Only 2. Volume 2 is only 2 episodes.
Yes.
They're long though. I believe the first one's like an hour and a half, and the next one's like almost 2.5 hours, or maybe 2 hours 19 or something like that.
Feature length episodes.
Yeah,
long. They're gonna be long.
No, I mean, a lot of these were like almost feature length episodes. But yeah, exactly. Last 2 episodes, but long ones.
That's what she said.
But what do we find there? That's your first time experiencing that. That's what she said.
Oh man, that was great.
Let's see. Need a Stranger Things animated series, Stranger Things Legends, Tales from Upside Down. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Just Space Cowboy. I just knew Hopper was going to survive. I rewatched the explosion, saw that he wasn't standing on the platform the moment that it blew. But we'll see. Let's see. Each episode was over an hour, and the last one was 1.5 hours. Yeah, exactly. And I think the last 2, it's like at 1.5 and like almost 2.5 hours. So it'll be for sure long, but it's only 2 episodes. Only 2.
Get your popcorn.
Any other main through lines? It's 7 episodes that were 75 hours, so it's hard to do this in an hour. But before we go to final thoughts, Dom, any other big through lines in this that we wanted to touch on?
I mean, do you want to touch on 11 Vecna, her whole background thing?
Yeah, I guess we kind of touched on Vecna. We didn't really touch on her. Yeah. What was your thoughts on her whole arc? Because it was interesting. It was compelling. And it I don't want to say it felt like a retcon, but at least how they presented it, it was when she found the Demogorgon, when she was trying to do the telepathic thing to kill people in Russia or whatever, that is what opened it up. But apparently the first time it happened was the massacre at Hawkins. And I'll be curious to see how this plays into 8, the character that was brought up in season 2. Was it 8? That was brought up in 2, that apparently left before the massacre at Hawkins. So that's how she's still out there and alive. But what was your thoughts here on the 11 storyline? To me, the conclusion was so satisfying that up until that point, it was another story. I was like, okay, cool, this is happening. But it wasn't the one I cared about the most. But Dom, what was your thoughts on the 11 storyline?
Yeah, it was as Kara kind of pointed out, my wife, she made a joke of like, it is really sad that 11 never fit in anywhere. Like no matter where she went, she was bullied.
Yeah.
And so I didn't understand her wanting to, like, her needing to lie to Mike that she was cool and popular.
Yes.
That, as he said, he was never cool and popular.
Yeah.
I love that she's getting her powers back. And again, just getting the backstory there and actually seeing everything, seeing for the first time that it wasn't in fact 11 that did anything.
Yeah.
Aside from actually beating the bad guy.
Yeah.
And we knew was it Brenner?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's like knowing how, like, we knew he was a bad guy. We knew it. Like, just like not Vecna bad, but still bad.
Yeah.
And seeing her, put enough trust in him to get her powers back, but her wanting to leave and him being like, "You're not a prisoner here, you're not trapped." But anytime she would try to leave, all the guards would come out, and I was kind of like,
"Yeah,
what is the story here?" But I enjoyed finally seeing what actually happened, seeing her get her powers. How she unlocked it as a kid, how she got them, like getting them back now. I was very confused on the Vecna thing because when she did beat him and push him against the wall, what it looked like was that she destroyed his body, and in the process of destroying his body, opened a portal.
Yeah.
But then his body was whole again in the realm, and I was like, these two things don't make sense to me. So that was the one flaw for me. I was kind of like, wait a minute, it didn't seem the same. But
it's almost like she disintegrated him and then transferred all of his particles to a new dimension where they like reformed or whatever.
Exactly.
Which I think that's basically how she killed the Demogorgon in the first season, right? Like when she and then she disappeared with him. And another a friend of mine who I do streams with on this channel, Ralph, he stopped watching Stranger Things after season 1. Was like, well, she could have killed the Demogorgon the whole time. I was like, well, she had to kind of get herself and figure it out at that point, so that didn't bother me. But it was interesting to see how that all played out. I like how it played out because I was always like, oh, is she just like a weapon? Even more so, like, is she just an evil person? Or I don't know. There's just it was like, where is it going? I didn't, and I know a lot of people in the chat said they knew Vecna 1 was bad the whole time. I was like, yeah, maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. Maybe I was just too trusting. I don't know. But
right into the tunnel point, right until he was like, oh, I can't make it through this tunnel. I was like, wait a minute. This is a setup.
I was like, they're in the boiler room. Nobody brings them to the boiler room. That's the good guy. It's like, oh, you're right. Dang it. But yeah, her story, it was a sad storyline because you had the beginning of her getting bullied in high school, horribly bullied. And she like smacks the person in the head. And it's one of those things like, I hate that. I mean, clearly she's going to have like brain damage, but she was an awful human being. But like just her whole storyline was just so sad. It was so sad. But, and it's kind of like a lot of those singular superheroes that the Peter Parkers, the Supermans or whatever, it's just like that. They don't get to be normal. They don't get to have that normal life because they are the only ones that can stop the big bad or whatever, right?
Right.
So it's not a unique thing in storytelling, but it is sad for her for sure. Let's see. Let's wrap these storylines. The Mike, Will, what was that?
Argyle. I love that guy.
Amazing. And then we went and got to see what's Dustin's girlfriend's name in
Susie.
Susie.
Those guys have no idea what's actually happening. That's also what's crazy to me. Those four, no idea what's happening.
Right? Yeah. But it was a funny storyline. Like there was stakes, but it was there was both the Joyce Hopper, Murray, and then the Will, Mike, Susie. Like it was fun. Like it had a bit more humor to it. But it was just seeing the house full of kids. Having only 2 kids, I was stressed out, like just beyond belief. I couldn't imagine being in that household. But yeah, it was really good. It's Jason. The chat is Jason Carver. Thank you. Jason Alpha Chad. The Demogorgon from season 1 may be the one that is in Russia. I'd be okay with that because again, 11 didn't disintegrate. She just went to the upside down, and she like came back out, right? I think so. I think Church of Latter-day Saints, I think they, like Catholics, they have a lot of kids, I guess. I don't know. That was my guess. Because they're in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah.
That house was just wild.
Two's enough for me. I mean, if you're watching this, we're done at 2. No more. No more kids. All right. I think that wraps up everything. There's probably some little storylines we're missing here and there. But again, an amazing first 7 episodes from season 4, volume 1. Really dug it. Dom, your final thoughts on the season before we get to not screen memes. Tom and I talked about before this. We're calling them stranger memes, which I'm sure somebody has taken, but whatever. We're taking it as well. But Dom, final thoughts on volume 1 of season 4.
I very much enjoyed it. As you know, watched all episodes this week, finished up yesterday. Ready to see how things finish up. Not a fan of some things again. Jonathan and not Jonathan. We just went over the name, but you know, the couples Joyce and not Joyce. I'm blanking on the kids. Nancy. And that. I'm not a fan just because they need to work their own stuff out before you let her get back with her ex.
That's right. Yeah, you were not a fan of the idea of Nancy and Steve getting together instead of Jonathan and Nancy figuring their stuff out.
Let them figure it out first. You're having Nancy go back to the man that at the end of season 1 or 2 we knew wasn't right for her. Like, just let it go. It's in the past. It's over now.
So cute together.
Yeah, let it go. Jonathan finally got a win by getting the pretty girl. Let it be.
He's a stoner. He doesn't care. He's got Argyle. He's fine.
Argyle's wanting Susie's sister, but that's a whole nother story. But yeah, outside of that, I very much enjoyed it. Again, last episode really caught me for like just threw me in the blender, and I loved it. So I hate that we have to wait till next month, but like you said, it is only a month. We get it next month. And I'm definitely looking forward to what's to come and kind of seeing the end of Stranger Things and hoping that it. Again, I brought out Game of Thrones earlier, hoping that it does much better justice to all of us than Game of Thrones did.
I agree. Loved it. 9 out of 10. Rogo, no love for Robert Englund cameo. You're right. The Robert Englund cameo was great as Vecna's father. You diced out his eyeballs. Really creepy. But I got to be honest, the sewed eyes thing just really creeped me out. And I think I just blocked it out of my mind. I don't like that stuff.
Gruesome.
But great, Rob. For having definitely Freddy vibes, it was cool having him in here for sure. So that was pretty cool, but it also creeped me out. I was just like, cool, all right. But definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, it would be hard for it to ruin the ending as much as Game of Thrones, especially because each season, again, season 2, even if people consider season 2 the worst season, it was still a good season. It just wasn't as good as all the other ones. Right. Oh, Colleen is in the house. Hello, Colleen. Hi, all right. Colleen. It is now time for Stranger Memes. So when we close out these episodes, we do a live discussion on a TV show. We look at some memes related to the episodes that we're talking about. And before we've called them screen memes, but for this, it's Stranger Memes because it kind of works. Anyway, first one here. Can't believe I waited 3 years for Stranger Things 4, only to watch it in one effing day. This was... Listen, I think we've all binged things in a day, but this was a lot to binge in a day. For anyone that could pull it off, good for you. But that's like
each episode's over an hour, so kudos to this person.
It would be like 12 hours or something like that. So anyway, the studio engines. I personally love the month break. I like stories that live in my head. I agree. I've enjoyed the Disney Pluses and whatnot that have like broken it up more than just like let's burn through them. And I feel like Netflix is almost realizing that a little bit, and that's why they've broken up season 4 here. But I thought this one's pretty funny. Next up, no one. Max, we got. I saw a few different ones like this, but I was like, I had to include this one.
That one's fantastic.
Let's keep going here. While watching this scene, I'm so sorry, Billy. I cried. There was tears. There was tears. It was emotional. Really emotional. Stranger Things. I love the out of context spoilers. Here you have Peter contorted.
Oh, that's awesome. I love the Twitter world.
Right? Me after the first episode of Stranger Things. It was intense. Even my dad, who streamed out this on, he has his own TV streaming channel. He was just like, I had to pace myself because I was getting nightmares. Like, you're like 60. What? Like, how are you still there? Like, it was scary. It was scary, son. It was scary. I was like, all right.
I could see it now. People are in bed right now with their favorite song in their head, just
yes. This such a strong plot twist. We talk a lot about it, but yeah, the one Vecna and the little boy were all the same character, and it's the iconic 3 Spider-Man pointing at each other. And then me, whenever I see a grandfather clock watching Stranger Things 4, I am dead, not inside, just I'm dead. I saw a lot of that about grandfather clocks and being creepy and stuff. I love grandfather clocks, but now they maybe have ruined it for me. And that wraps up Stranger Memes for Stranger Things 4 Volume 1. Dom, this is a lot of fun. Did you have fun?
Absolutely, Jay. Again, I appreciate you having me. This was fantastic. Great show, great conversation, great community too. I love your chatters. They're awesome.
Yeah, we got a good crew here in the Geek Dad Life world. Definitely want to make sure people know where they can find you. You are on Twitch. I gotta readily admit, I still don't get Twitch. And that may just be my geek dad. I'm just maybe too old to get it. But where can people? I actually put a link to your Twitch account in the description. So if you want to follow Dom on his Athletic Geek Twitch channel, you can. But like Dom, what is your Twitch all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I stream I game on Twitch. Variety streamer, most of it first-person shooters, your Apex, your Call of Duty, sometimes your Fortnite, but also some fun other games like Minecraft. Just casual, easy to talk to everyone while doing something fun and that doesn't take up a lot of brain space. So that's what I like to do.
Nice.
Talk sports every now and again as well. Talk sports or Geek Life because huge anime nerd. We had the Cowboy Bebop in here earlier. I loved it because I'm a big anime guy. So much love for that. So anything like that is what you can find me doing in my stream.
Awesome. Well, please check out Dom there. And Dom, are you in? Are you gonna come? Are we gonna have you back for Volume 2 for season 4?
Oh, absolutely.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much for. I do gotta make sure I bring out the patrons. Thanks here. Make sure I get that up. I didn't open it up before. We got a quick time. All right, so I definitely want to thank the patrons of Geek Dad Life. Let me pull it up here. Let me hit play. So if you like to see your name at the end of each episode, become a patron today at patreon.com/geekdadlife. Get your name in the credits of each episode. You get exclusive access to our Discord server. You get access to an exclusive live stream every single week after Toy Geeks on Sunday. And then we do a big raffle every single month for all of our patrons. Good Lord, I can't even freaking talk. But I will say I have had this Kate Bush song in my head. Colleen can attest. She's been playing it nonstop. It's so catchy. This is the karaoke version of it, so YouTube can't pull this thing down. But
Smart
thank
man.
you all. Great show. Jay, did you pick this over playoff hockey? That's saying something. That said, I have watched a lot of Twitch lately. Well, there you go. So definitely you gotta follow. You gotta give Athletic Geek a follow. Again, link in the description. A lot of love for Dom. Yes, Dom, you did a kick-ass job first time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Rocco, what's the internet? Am I saying that right? Internet?
That was a great part.
Oh my God. All right. Take care, everybody. And until next time, hasta luego. And goodbye.